I'm a simple man. If I see a pun in a card game, I want to know more about it. Not always. I mean, sometimes that pun doesn't land right, or it's something that I think is offensive, or maybe not offensive enough. But sometimes maybe it just doesn't hit right, and maybe it's too simplistic. Maybe it's not complicated enough. But you know, it's sort of a complicated thing. But regardless, Seers Catalog from Bézier Games is not. Seers Catalog puts you in the role of an evil fighting seer in the Werewolf Universe, flipping through the pages of the latest issue of all the wonderful wares the arcane-soaked world has to offer. It does this by having you play rummy, or rather a rummy-like game that has some cool artifacts thrown in and a wild for every player. The game is played over 4 rounds. The cards are numerical, and the amount of suits and value of cards is determined by the player count. In addition to the numerical cards, there are also artifacts that players are given, as well as 1 wild card per player. One player starts the round by playing either a single card, multiples of the same numbered card, or a run of cards. The next player must then either pass or beat the last hand played. A single card played must be beat by another single card of higher value. If multiple cards are played, then the following player must play the same amount of cards but a higher value. If it's multiples of the same number, it has to be higher. If it's a run, the follow-up run must be the same amount of cards, but ending in a number higher than the highest number from the previous run. Once everyone passes, the player that played the last card begins the next hand. Once a player completely runs out of cards from their hand, the round ends immediately and scoring begins. Players score the very lowest valued card in their hand. They then subtract 1 point for every other card left in their hand. And here's where it gets a little tricky. These artifacts, these really cool artifacts that you want to hang on to and use at opportune moments, if the round ends with one of them in your hand, they're worth 0 points. So after you score the lowest card left in your hand, you then take negative points for every card left in your hand aside from that one. Which means, yeah, going out first is bad because you get 0 points, but if you don't time your cards right, that means you're taking negative points, which happens not infrequently in this game. So why wouldn't you just pass whenever it's convenient? Well, I mean, besides the fact that the more cards you have in your hand at the end of the round, the less points you get, there's also this inconvenient little thing here, and that is this bonus token. And what this means is when you get down to less than 6 cards, you no longer have the option to voluntarily pass. If you can play, you must play. I didn't like that at first. It's now my favorite thing about this game. Suddenly, this becomes less of a game of managing what tricks you play in order to shed your hand, and it becomes a game of manipulating your opponent to shed their hand at inopportune times. Now, personally, a small gripe of mine is these artifact cards. I don't like how mechanically chunky they are. This is a pretty straightforward, clean-cut game, but when you throw in these artifacts, which are really, unfortunately, integral to making this game pop and stand out, I mean, there's a whole separate booklet here explaining what all the different artifacts do. The fact of the matter is, they improve the game. They make it sort of special in a way. And it only increases that difficulty of explaining it just a tiny, annoying amount. Now, I also don't particularly love variable player setup, but I understand that's the nature of the beast. It's something that you need, especially in card games that play a pretty wide range of players. Aside from those which are admittedly very minor gripes, but something that I wanted to point out, I really do love this game. It's a game that I've gotten to the table successfully a number of times, played at various player counts, and really enjoyed. On top of that, the Seers Catalog idea that this is the theme of the game being the Seers Catalog. One, the pun does tickle me. It's fun, it's funny. In addition, the art and being in the Werewolf Universe, it adds, it's that juxtaposition of creepy, mysterious seers and werewolves mixed in with the everyday catalog, which is something of a bygone era, but it is funny to me, and it tickles my fancy in a way that is pretty cool. I like rummy style games, and this game made me realize that I like them more than I realized before. So if you're into sort of trick-taking, shedding rummy style games with some panache and some flair and coziness almost, this is a game I'd recommend taking a look at, and that is Seers Catalog from Bézier Games. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. If there's any particular game you'd like me to cover. I am on social media pretty much everywhere at Plumpy Thimble. Thank you again so much, and I will catch you next time.